in the Spalding Auditorium in Copacino Hall. Like, woo, where am I? But you got here, you found a place to park your car, and thank you for taking the time. This is a time of the year that often your kiddos are starting to think about what's coming next, and I don't know whether you try to have those conversations with them when they're having it with you, or maybe not at all, and that's all totally normal. The reason for us to bring you to the middle school now is so that you can feel like, okay, I have some information for those 9 p.m. conversations, like, I don't know where I'm going to go when I get to the middle school. You'll have some sense and fortitude to be able to say, instead of saying I have no idea myself, you'll have a sense of sort of being able to share with them your experience. Your kids are going to spend plenty of time here before 6th grade starts. So not quite yet, it was a little early for them, but we feel like it's a sweet spot for you, so that you feel prepared to be able to kind of support your child as they think about making a move to middle school. The most important thing that I want to emphasize is that I am here with colleagues that are all school colleagues who I work with all the time. This is a representation of a whole school approach. We are the Carroll School, right? So that this would not be visible to you, but we function as a unit. So your children are coming to 6th grade and they're staying at the Carroll School. So please know that. Please be reassured by that. These are kids who have recently transitioned, like from our 5th grade to the 6th grade. So you'll hear from them directly. But let's get started. I want to introduce you directly to my colleague Allison West, who is the division head in the middle school. And she'll introduce you to the folks that are here that are middle schools kind of centric, and we'll get started.
Great. Good morning. I'm Allison, and I'm the superintendent of the middle school. I like to remind the students of that a lot at the beginning of the year as they're orienting to the new space and all these new faces. Fortunately, we've already started, though. We've been over to the lower school. I've been able to pop into classrooms. When I'm over there for a basketball game, I get to see some of my 5th grade friends who are there in the after school. So we've already started to begin to insert ourselves so that there is some familiarity. And I'm really excited that we have this time together today. I'm going to pass it over to my colleagues here who are going to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm the other Allison, Allison Harmon. I am the head of the counseling department at Carroll.
My name is Kwame Kabla. I'm the middle school dean of students. Nice to see all of you.
I'm Mike Metz. I am the athletic director, run extended day, and also physical education.
I'm Michael Messino, and I'm a history teacher as well as the 6th grade team leader.
And I'm Melissa Bedway. I'm also a history teacher, and I'm the assistant middle school head. Welcome.
The Glenn's Pullman.
Yes.
The Glenn's home, yes. Yes. And the John, who else? There's Coach, John and Camille. Yeah, the coach. So you'll hopefully you'll recognize him. Yeah.
Only a little.
Yes. And we do have a 6th grade counselor who's dedicated to the 6th grade. His name is Sam Brody. He's not with us this morning, but you'll have opportunities to meet him. We're fortunate in the middle school that we do have counselors dedicated to each grade level, and Allison sort of oversees all 3 divisions, so she's...
Sam's the Megan Shea. We want to just
Sam is the Megan Shea. Yes, that's great. So just to orient you to our plan for today, we are going to give you a little bit of an overview of what 6th grade looks like here in some slides. We're not going to go too in-depth. We'll have more opportunities over the course of this year and in the fall to get really detailed. And just as I'm sure Sue has communicated with you all about her open door, I have an open door as well. So if at any point over the course of the next couple months you want to come in and have coffee or walk the campus again or have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to do that. This is what you really want to hear, though, from the students. So we have an awesome selection of students who have either come to 6th grade from the lower school or have started new this year. And we have some questions that we've previewed with them, but we'd also like to give you an opportunity to ask your burning questions. And they're going to be the ones who are going to give you the realest answers today. So really excited about that. And then we're going to have an opportunity to tour the campus. This campus is comprised of 3 buildings. This building is where our 6th graders spend a majority of their time. But we have 2 other buildings and actually a yurt in our Bounders Woods, so technically 4, that all of our students, well, and the gym 5. Okay, so we've gone from 3 to 5 on this campus. So we'll tour all of those areas. And in those smaller groups, that'll be yet another opportunity to ask some questions. All right? So before I begin, actually, I would love for our panelists to just, in practicing projecting your voice, can you tell us your name, when you started at Carroll, and maybe where you come from each morning? You want to kick us off, Jack?
My name's Jack. I live in Brookline, and I've been here since 3rd grade. My name is Ava. I live in Dorchester, and I've been here since 4th grade. My name's Emmy. I live in Westwood, and I've been here since 5th grade. My name's Hannah, and I live in Andover, and I've been here since 2nd grade. Hi, I'm Drew. I've been here for 3 years since 4th grade, and I live in Concord.
I'm Sid. I live in Needham, and I've been here for 1 year and I've just started.
I'm Alex. I live in Lexington, and I've been here for 3 years. I'm Anya. I live in Acton, and this is my first year at Carroll.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, students. And you can fact check me too as we're going through some of these slides. All right? So I actually want to start by just sharing some of the ways that we are similar. Sue sort of kicked us off to say we are one Carroll school. We think about 6th grade as 5th grade plus 1 day. And even though this is a new, fresh campus, even though a lot of the faces are going to feel really new, we've worked really hard over the years to create a transition that feels as smooth as possible. I started here in 2001, and I've seen sort of that evolution. So, same population of students. If you've ever listened to an info session, you've maybe heard us say, we have one type of student, we just have 440 versions of those students. And the same is true in the middle school. About 80% of our 6th graders do come from the lower school. We do grow up to about 80 students. So there is a pretty sizable cohort of students who join us in 6th grade, but again, all the same learning profile. What you'll notice is that the teacher ratio and class sizes are also very similar from 5th grade. Of course, as we tour around and you have the ability to poke your head into some 7th and 8th grade classes, you might notice that they feel a little bigger, and that is purposeful. Because as we move through the middle school experience for our students, we are preparing them for a high school environment. But for 6th grade, that student-teacher ratio is the same. You'll notice that the teaching practices and the training are all the same. So when you have to pick up your kids at 12:15 on Fridays, and you're like, we are here, and we are learning all together. So whether you're a middle school teacher, a lower school teacher, an upper school teacher, the ways in which we teach are all the same. So the practices are going to feel very similar. A lot of the language that the students are hearing is going to feel and sound very similar. Our basic schedule and program is also very similar. Our block schedule is not exactly the same, and that's because it really shouldn't be. We move in a developmental sequence. And so although the block schedules feel a little different, the general schedule and the program are the same. We are a responsive classroom school. And this means for lower, middle, and upper, all of our teachers are trained in responsive classroom practices. So every morning, we start with morning meeting, very similar to how students in the 5th grade start. We end our day all together back in homerooms for NCLU, no child left unorganized or teacher. So a lot of those structures, a lot of those systems, very similar. You'll notice that our conduct expectations, our dress code, we have one handbook. All of those are the same. And homework. Homework is going to feel very similar. We do tick up over the course of the 6th grade year, and we do increase expectations appropriately and developmentally. But students, I think, will feel, and hopefully you can fact check me on this when we get to asking you these questions, that homework, the expectations around homework, the amount of homework does feel similar. Okay? I'm going to kick it over to Mike Copacino, the team leader, to talk a little bit about student induction, which in some ways has already began, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the academic program features.
Yeah, so as Ms. Buss was just saying, we sort of started their trip to the middle school by doing our really wonderful Martin Luther King Day service, where the 6th graders got to go down to the lower school and everyone worked together on community projects. And it was just a really wonderful opportunity to get 6th graders working with the kids who will be their peers next year, as well as teachers getting to meet kids. I've been fortunate enough to make a few trips to the lower school. I was there for a day to observe. I actually got to serve on the lower school alumni panel on homecoming day because I am a 5th grade alumni, just like all of your children will be soon.
I'm Tom. I was here when you was
It took me a little, not to call you this fast, but
I was foreseeing that,
But yes, so the 6th grades, yeah, and then 7th graders are also going to be meeting 6th graders through their mentor program this spring, so your kids may have buddies coming up next year. It's been great when I've come down to work the scoreboard for basketball games, seeing kids going through after school to leave their bed and seeing each other's recognize me, so it's been a really great building that relationship already. Finally, we're having 5th grade teachers visit 6th grade and 6th grade teachers visit 5th grade as part of a long-term project to make the transition even better, smoother, and prepare each other for what we're all doing. It's been a really cool experience. So yeah, it's such a great metaphor, Allison, that 6th grade is 5th grade plus 1 day.
Yeah.
And for academic programs, I think those was spent away, but
That's me.
oh great.
But the other thing I'll just add is that the first week that we come back, the 6th grade team has done a phenomenal job of designing a week that is really centered around community building, getting to learn and understand the expectations, getting to know one another in really deep, profound ways. And there's a little bit of academics thrown in there, but I will say that the 6th grade, that first week of 6th grade, that the team has done a really excellent job in designing this program that just sort of allows them to land softly. In terms of our academic program, some acronyms, we're kind of the alphabet soup of schools. I don't know if you've noticed that, all of our acronyms. But some of these acronyms may be new. Our MAP system and tool time in 6th grade. MAP stands for Make a Plan. So 6th grade is a time where students are working on building a lot of executive functioning skills. And as we are moving them towards a greater sense of independence and helping them develop their self-advocacy skills, we have this MAP plan that helps them to log and note maybe when they missed a homework assignment, or maybe they arrived to school without their computer, or they forgot to charge it overnight. And so they're logging these challenges that they may be having so that they can begin to see patterns and set goals with their advisors. And tool time, students, and we can maybe point some of these out over in our tour upstairs, are actually, they build a toolbox in our makerspace. And there's a mechanism for earning certain tools as certain executive functioning skills become more developed. But they are in the driver's seat. They have to apply for the tool. They have to make a case for why they've earned that level of independence. And then during a morning meeting, students who have earned that tool are recognized. So it's a system that really puts them at the forefront of goal setting, reflection, and helping to make their progress a little bit more visible. NCLU, which I touched on a little bit, is an opportunity at the end of the day, No Child Left Unorganized, where students sort of come back to their homerooms, they meet with their advisors, making sure their homework planners are all filled out, they've got everything they need, and in some cases might be meeting with a specific teacher to get a little extra help or getting a jump start on a certain assignment. I want to take a minute just to talk about our focus area model. In the middle school, what we learned many, many years ago is that so many of our students were coming into 6th grade with some really incredible decoding skills. And through the work of the National Reading Panel, we further developed our focus area model to include a wider range of courses. And so what you're going to find in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade is that we begin to shift from those one-on-one tutorials or Yellingham tutorials to more groups. And the research that we've been able to benefit from tells us that these small groups have great benefits, particularly as students get older and they're learning more collaboratively. So our focus area model expands to include more fluency, comprehension and vocabulary, some more writing. We also have math focus areas in the middle school. And in some cases, for students who need more executive functioning, we have an executive functioning focus area as well. So it's really an opportunity for us to be really diagnostic and prescriptive, to really drill down to an area of great need and provide that double dose of instruction. Students have a dedicated history class, which I think will also feel a little different. And so ELA and history work together to build those literacy skills. So every day a student meets with their ELA teacher and their history class to work on building those literacy skills. Our flex model, also, it shifts a bit developmentally. So in flex, in the middle school, students are engaging in targeted cognitive intervention. It's also where we do our direct health and wellness instruction. There are some skills that come into flex, but it's also where students are engaging in our Foundations for Brave Conversations curriculum, where we're setting the framework to help them develop their own sense of identity, helping them engage and learn strategies for engaging in brave and courageous conversations. And it really fits in nicely with our school-wide theme of belonging and perspective taking. We have an awesome multis program here where students are engaging in drama, music, PE, founders, visual arts, makerspace. So students, you can ask them questions about what their favorite multis are, and we'll also be able to tour and see some of those spaces. And lastly, just want to note, we are fortunate in the middle school that we have an SLP dedicated to each grade level. The model is similar to lower school, where our SLPs are not providing direct service. They're pushing into classrooms to help support students and teachers. They're consulting with teaching teams and teachers and designing lessons and putting in place different accommodations and modifications. But we have a really terrific SLP who is just dedicated to our 80 6th graders. So that's a little bit more detail about our academic program. And I'm going to shift now. I'm going to kick it back over to Mike, who's going to talk about some student programs, and then Alyssa is going to share, oh, yes.
Sorry, I don't know what an SLP is.
Thank you. See, alphabet soup. SLP is speech language pathologist.
So one of the exciting things we have about 6th grade is we're going to start doing clubs. Just from my lovely panel right here, could you guys share some of the clubs that either you did last term or that you're about to do starting today?
I did acting games last term, nothing regular.
Cool.
I did knitting last term, and I would like to do slime this term.
Slime.
Slime.
I did art, and it was really fun. And this term I'm doing mixing and making, which is
Can you say that a little bit louder so we can hear?
I'm doing mixing and baking, which is fun. Last time I did archery, and this term I'm going to do sixth grade games.
Did you say archery?
Archery.
Wow.
Last time I did active games, and this time I hope to get active games.
This term I'm doing origami club, and last term I did Disney club.
Last term I did art club, and this term I'm doing archery. Last term I did D&D, and this term I'm doing active games.
And what is D&D for? That's another acronym.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes. Good.
And in addition to that, we'll have alliance and affinity groups for kids of different backgrounds or kids who are interested in supporting different communities throughout Carroll. We also have some community service groups, and Coach will be telling us more about after-school activities such as sports and drama momentarily. And you'll have a chance to ask these guys about homework momentarily, but again, it's very much 5th grade plus a day, in that it's going to be controlled, manageable, and most importantly with homework, it is not busy work. There's a real commitment amongst middle school teachers here to assign homework only if it's something that is truly supporting the underlying skill. So we are very intentional about the homework that we give for things that, one, can be done on kids' own, and two, are essential to the functions that we're trying to achieve. And then a few more adjustments is the kids are expected to have much more independence around technology, and we have a really lovely curriculum around that. A lot of goal setting and reflection. Kids are actually going to be participating in their own parent conferences at the very end of the year, which is really wonderful. And sorry, I haven't explained it to you guys yet. But and then finally, we get to present all that to you in 3 30-minute parent conferences a year, plus several other opportunities for advisors and parents to be in a more independent way, plus call.
I do just want to point out Hawks. You might have noticed Hawks spotted.
Oh,
So
yes.
in lower school, I bet you can all sing the Eric song. Would anybody like to try? Anyone?
Emmy is in her head right now.
Yeah. Anyone? No? Okay. So Eric, as you all know, represents the core values of the lower school. Well, we have Eric the Hawk at the middle school. Hawk is our school mascot, and Hawk stands for honesty, accountability, work ethic, kindness, and safety. And so we carry Eric from the lower school to the middle school, and we add Hawks. And we have an opportunity every month. Teaching teams will identify a Hawk-spotted student, a student who has worked really hard over the course of that month to demonstrate a strong commitment to our Hawks core values.
Can you all raise your hand if you have had at least one Hawk spotted this year?
There was a couple questions, here and then here.
The student programs, the clubs that the students shared with us, is that during school time? Or
Yes.
is it, okay.
That's during flex.
Okay, thank you.
What do you mean by 5th grade plus a day?
Oh. 5th grade plus a day is just a way of saying when they arrive on campus for their first day of 6th grade, we try to make that transition feel as smooth as possible. It's not just, now you're in middle school and you're going to do all the things. It's trying to help our 5th graders, our incoming 5th graders, feel a sense of familiarity, feel a sense of comfort, and to acknowledge that although this is a new campus, although these are new people, we are the same school, and we're going to take it slowly.
So they don't have to come to school 6 days a week?
They do not have to come to school 6 days a week. Although I'm hearing some people might like that. Would you guys like that? Nope. No. All right, I'm going to hand this over to my colleague Allison here.
So I think the other thing that really exists across all 3 divisions at Carroll is this whole child approach. And I think of that as just a way of saying that we care a ton about academic development, and we care a ton about your kids' social and emotional development, and we see those things as really intertwined, and that the more we support them on all fronts, that the better that that kids do, and the better they feel, and the stronger that our community is. So I just wanted to I could talk about all these things a lot. They're like all my favorite things to do and to talk about. But I'll give just a little bit of a sneak peek about some of the approaches that inform our work and some of the structures that we use to connect with the kids around them. So responsive classroom is something that a lot of the kids it's really embedded in the lower school. We sort of continue on with that approach in the middle school and our upper school. And really it's a nationally recognized, evidence-based approach that blends academic and social emotional learning. So you may see that we continue to have morning meetings in homeroom and with advisors. Sometimes we meet as a full grade or in a homeroom pair, and often just in that you may hear them call advisory or homeroom. Their advisor is similar to their primary teacher or their classroom teacher from the lower school. And in morning meeting, it's a time for kids to kind of be welcomed into the day, to preview, work on those executive functioning skills. How do I picture my future self after lunch and where I need to go? It's also a time to build community and to develop some of those social skills. So sometimes they do activities or games with a purpose where hopefully you guys are having fun with some of the games, and and then maybe also practicing things like turn taking or expressing themselves or listening or adding a thought to a topic. And it's also a time to really connect with advisors and with all the faculty here. Responsive classroom really, at the base of it, is relationships with kids. The kids really aren't as available for learning unless they feel that trusting relationship with the adults that they're spending their day with. So we really do a lot of intentional relationship building, and I think the advisor is really like a point person to start out with, and then the relationships just kind of grow and layer from there. Responsive classroom also has a lot of tools and practices around how to communicate with kids and how to use language in an intentional way to reinforce the behaviors that we want to see, or to remind or redirect behaviors that need a little bit of an adjustment. The approach is really collaborative, so when there's problems or issues, we want to work together with kids and do problem-solving conferences where we're really trying to get a student's understanding of, well, what do you think is going on, and why do you think something is happening, and what can we try together to sort of figure things out, and how can we support you along the way. So again, it's both sort of the support and also the skill building really embedded in the practice. More recently, we've also incorporated from the restorative justice model, restorative practices in education. So folks may be familiar with restorative justice. It shows up in lots of different areas. And in education, it aligns so nicely with responsive classroom because it's also really just based on developing that community as the base. So a primary practice in restorative justice is doing circles. And so students will meet in circles where again, it's a really intentional structure. There's a talking piece and there's guidelines, and students are given a chance to express themselves, to hear other people, to pass if they want to just participate as a listener. And there's different topics and sort of layers to how the circle sort of opens and exists and then closes. And then the other piece of it is once kids are familiar with sort of coming together in this sort of circle way, if there's a time, and this definitely happens, where there are conflicts or there are words or actions that cause harm or impact somebody in a negative way, that these circles are sort of this like trusted, familiar structure that we can use to help process like what happened and what was your perspective, and listen to someone else's perspective, and also think about ways to make reparative steps or to restore that sense of community. And we're thoughtful about using them, so they're not appropriate in every situation, and we want them to sort of feel like they're a choice that kids are doing and that we're supporting that choice. But it's been very, very cool to learn about that. A group of us were trained last summer, another group's going to be trained this summer. Our 7th graders sort of really did a lot of work. So you will start to do a lot of circles next year. And we're hoping to just kind of like continue adding layers. Jack? Yeah?
What you're just trying to say is that we could use the skills to move
Oh, interesting. I think we want to give you the skills to move into any environment, whether it's public school or an independent school, but yeah, like we want to use middle school as a time to like enjoy where you are, but also be ready for your next step. That is excellent. Yeah, like taking in that information and putting it back out. Thank you.
Day camp work.
I know, right?
But yeah, like, I mean, and like, Jeff, I think we talked about this in history, but like my goal as a history teacher is like to create kids who are students, or who are citizens.
Yes.
Where it's like, you can make difficult decisions and things like that. So, I think we should try to do a panel.
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
Oh,
So they can talk about all.
I know, critical thinkers. Maybe I could come back to some other pieces if we're interested, but the one thing I also just want to say really quickly is Sam Brody is our counselor. Raise your hand if you know Mr. Brody. Where do you see Mr. Brody during the day?
Anywhere.
Anywhere. Yeah, like classrooms, check, playground, his office, wherever you want to be.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Peers.
Yes, so the idea with our counseling model is that really we're embedded with the kids, with the teachers in their environment. We're available in really flexible ways to support kids. It could be having some worries that we need to develop some strategies around, or just working something out with a friend, or having like a tough day, you know, whatever it is, we're here. The counselors love to partner with families. Sam has 2 little kids, and one of them was not feeling so well this morning, or else he would have been here. He is also a Carroll alum. Did you all know that? Yeah. And so please feel free at any time to reach out to me or reach out to Sam. We are here to work together with your kids. So let's get to the good stuff, and I will skip some of my other things.
All right, well, let's hear from academics, athletics though first.
All right.
Because this is a big change from lower school to middle school that is often really exciting.
It is a big change. So we compete against other middle schools similar size, like Carroll. We have many different teams, and we have a team for your child. If they want to play, we want them to play. So just taking a quick look, athletics is Monday through Thursday, nothing on Fridays. In the fall, we have cross-country running, which is great. We go out here through Lincoln Conservation Land, 2-mile race. It's awesome. We have soccer played over at our Wayland campus. And we have flag football, which has taken off dramatically. Anybody play flag football here? Drew did. All right. We had 2 teams this year. It's a great sport. And then we have intramural golf, where we go to a local golf course and play golf in Lexington. So that's just in the fall. And in the winter, this year we had 8 basketball teams. We have 5 boys teams and 3 girls teams. We have almost 100 kids playing basketball. And then also we have ice hockey. Anybody play basketball? Who play basketball? It was awesome.
Hockey's on Fridays.
And hockey is, we practice and have games on Friday. Sometimes we'll throw a Tuesday or Thursday in there. But if you look at it, it's quite extensive. We're not even to the spring yet. So in the spring, we have lacrosse, both boys and girls lacrosse, which is played over again in Wayland, beautiful athletic fields over there. Track and field, which is on this campus. We also have ultimate frisbee, and then we come back to intramural golf again. But everything except intramural golf, we play other schools. You may be familiar with, we play Park, Brimmer and May, Beaver, Shady Hill, Dedham Country Day, Belmont Day, Fenn, Pheasant. All the schools that are near us will play in athletics.
Any questions for Coach about athletics?
Good.
I have a question. So for some of these, most of these take place off of this campus. Is it Carroll transportation
Yes.
to and then back here?
So if we have a practice over in Wayland,
Yep.
we'll drive the students over to Wayland,
Yep.
and then we'll have pickup over in Wayland.
Okay.
So we don't have to transfer. We could have a little longer practice time.
Okay. So for example, for hockey, it would be after school, you would go to Concord, did you say Concord?
Concord, yes.
And then it
Down
would be
this
a
way.
pickup in Concord.
You can either, yeah, you can either pick up there or here, either way. So,
Got it.
yeah, transportation is a big piece of what we do. And we'll always, we drive to and from games. If you want to pick up at a game, you're
Okay.
more than happy to pick up at a game if you want, especially if it's close to the house. Okay.
How much experience do the kids need to be able to join, like, for golf? Is it?
Zero.
Okay.
Zero experience. And that's the whole beauty of middle school, is this is a great time to pick up a sport.
Did any of you guys do a new sport this year, or going to do a new sport that you haven't played before? Yeah, what'd you do, new Sid?
I'm gonna do a little lacrosse. this
You've
fall.
never played lacrosse before?
Yeah, good for you.
Okay. Will be great.
But I did play soccer and ball, but I haven't played after 9 years.
So for instance, for Sid, she's played sports her whole life, but is experimenting with now lacrosse, which is a new sport for her. And so, like in our, for basketball this year, we had strictly a 6th grade basketball teams, strictly 6th grade boys and a 6th grade girls basketball team. And then as we get older, then we have more opportunities to play at different levels.
And coach, what if you're not a sporty person?
We're not there yet. Hang on. I got some more questions. Go ahead.
How many days a week do they have practice, and what time does practice end?
So we practice and games are all during Monday through Thursday. So it's 4 days a week till 4:45 is the pickup time. So they get about an hour and a half every day with practice and games. And then we try to have at least one game, sometimes 2 during the week. So you may have 2 practices and a game, or 3 practices in a game. Especially sometimes at the 6th grade level, we tend sometimes to have less games and more practice. So they have more time to gain skill.
Is there a spot for every child should they want to participate in these various sports, or you're just limited to X number of students per sport?
So what we try to do, we don't cap our athletics. So we try to take as many students that want to play. So and that's how we ended up with so many basketball teams. So we opened it up, and if you wanted to play a sport, you know, you're welcome to sign up, and we'll teach you the sport. Okay? Yes.
Can you speak a little bit about the coaching? Are you taking parent volunteers? If they've coached before, what are the qualifications? Do you even entertain that?
We haven't gone to parent volunteers for athletics. All our coaches are in-house. Middle school teachers, upper school teachers are our coaches, all having high school and college experience in the sport. But parent volunteers is something to think about. As we always struggle, making sure that we have enough coaches. Yes.
So, with the sports, for some of us that might have a longer commute, is there a time in between the school ending and the practice beginning for them to get some homework done?
No, but because like if we're going over to Wayland for a lacrosse practice, we go right after school. We get the kids time to change, gather their belongings, we get on the van, head over to Wayland for practice. We do have, as part of our extended day program, a supervised study aspect, and that they can get their homework done during that. And sometimes what happens is, if we know a child needs to get their homework done, we'll make arrangements that they'll go to supervised study instead of practice for a day, to make sure they can stay caught up.
Gotcha.
Because that's more important than playing sport.
So for kids who play for their town also, is there some flexibility with like the town practice?
Absolutely, absolutely. We know they're getting the repetitions in for their sport, so we do definitely have flexibility as long as you're upfront with the coach or with me, and I could let the coach know not to expect Johnny today because he's going to town practice.
That was actually exactly my question. My daughter's very athletic. I know she's going to love the sports, but she's very, very involved with her town soccer, which is one day a week.
And they should be involved in town soccer
Because it's a connection to it.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that's the nice thing about athletics or extended day here in middle school and the lower school is we know you're all from all over Massachusetts, and so
And beyond.
and beyond. And so this is a great time, to make connections with friends and to spend extra time with friends and build those relationships.
Can I hear you say that hockey is Fridays only?
Mostly Fridays. It's every Friday, but it's also, we'll have games during the week sometimes. So, because, it's always on a Friday because it's a half day, so it's a great time to get ice. So we have ice at 1:30 to 2:30 every Friday. And then we'll expand on that during the week sometimes.
So we've had some kids play hockey, but also do another.
Like play basketball at the
Yeah.
same time, so you could do
So it would be like every Friday and then how many days during the week?
just not many. Maybe one every other week.
Oh, okay, so it's really almost like a.
Yeah, the hockey program is if your child plays hockey, this is more like supplemental to their own hockey program where it's nothing on the weekends again, but Fridays and we've done it.
But we have had kids who have tried and played hockey for the very first time.
We
Yes, yeah.
have.
I'm looking at the
I
time,
know.
just to shift maybe, could you talk a little bit about the other extended day offerings?
So along with athletics, we also have this a pretty robust extended day program. Similar to the lower school, at the same time frame, Monday through Thursday, but in the middle school, you signed up for an activity. I know at the lower school, you sign up for extended day and then they divide them up when they get there. In the middle school, you could sign up for the art program with Miss Francis, and you would go to art 2 days a week. Same thing with Bounders or performing arts, supervised study. You could sign up for 2 days a week or 4 days a week and go to these activities. And then we also add various other club activities as they come along. Sometimes we have a science club or different types of activities for extended day.
Do you know about what percentage of students do sports here or extended day?
Quite a bit. We are somewhere around 75% of kids do at least one sport during the year and or extended day. So it's quite a bit.
Speaking of things that aren't sports, Emmy, you seemed really excited about one of the things on this list. Which one was that?
Well, I'm doing theater. I'm doing, I'm in a play.
And what's that play called?
You're gonna be in Charlie's
That's going on now. There's rehearsals right now.
Just started.
Just started.
The actors back here will be running it.
Yeah.
Question about supervised study, is that a sign-up situation, or can kids kind of come in and out of it?
So it's a sign up. So we like to have people signed up so we know who to expect from day in and day out. But like I said earlier, if Johnny's having a hard time in staying up on his homework and he's in a different activity, and we'll talk with the teachers, or the teachers will talk with me and say, can he do supervised study to get caught up? Absolutely.
So if you
But we
think-
also have, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, if you remember back to the MAP plan, the make a plan, sometimes one of the action items, or one of the ways that we can help support a student is by having them attend after-school study for a couple days, just to either work with teachers or get caught up. So I'll be like, hey, Mike,
Absolutely.
can we add a couple kids?
So we do have 2 teachers that do supervised study every day, and they work with each child, making sure that they are working through their homework.
And
I just have one question about timing.
in August, we tend to get notifications from my daughter's current activities about signing up for the year.
Yes.
There's a lot of pressure to lock it in quickly.
Yes.
When do we know in September?
This will go out, the sign-ups will be announced like mid-August. And they'll have a sign-up date, which is normally towards the end of August to sign up. And at that point, you'll be given a time when you can log on to your Blackbaud account and sign up. And that happens all year round. So it'll happen 3 times a year. Then the next one will be sometime in November, then again in February.
So I'm going to suggest one more question, and then we can talk more about this when we tour around. But I do want to get to the panel so that we can then have that.
One more question? Go ahead.
I know with the extended day at the lower school, there were some capacity limitations. Is that something that we need to consider here for the extended day?
Yes, because some of our activities do fill up. Like the Bounders program fills up, the art program fills up, and some other clubs do fill up. But we do try to take everybody for athletics. We try to take as many. We don't have a cap on supervised study. So we take as many as we can in those, all right? But there are, for example, art does fill up pretty quickly. Bounders does fill up pretty quickly. Golf fills up quickly because we are limited in how many kids we can bring over there. But there are limitations on some of our activities. So not as stringent as the lower school, but we do have limitations of how many we can take.
All right. So you'll have more time to ask more questions on the tour, but maybe you can even ask some of our students questions. But we do have some questions.
So, yeah, and guys, if you think that you are a good person to answer a question, just raise your hand. You may not be the person for every question. I may not call in everyone for everything because that's Thursday. But just letting you guys know that how it's going to work. But I think the first big question a lot of kids have coming up to Carroll is, what's it like being on a new campus? We got Alex and I saw Alex and Sid.
And nice and loud, remember.
Well, the lower school, because I came up from the lower school, it's much smaller than the middle school. And the middle school, you have a lot more independence getting to your classes. Because in the lower school, you stay inside most of the time. So that was the biggest change for me, like the independence and like how large the school is.
Yeah, and Sid.
So I went to a public school before I went to Carroll, so it's a big difference because I had just one building and now I have to walk all around to get to my places I need to be. So it gives me a lot more responsibility in finding out like where I should go and stuff like that.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, so we have like a week at the start of the year to like look at like find like all of our classes and stuff. And also, I am a walk buddy in one class.
A walk buddy, Emmy?
Yeah, and we.
This is self-created, by the way.
Yeah.
I go to this building from the other building. It's called Carroll, but I don't know.
Yeah, Alex?
So actually, the first week, starting 6th grade, I had Mr. Kabula and Ms. Saunders as science and history teachers, and then it switched to Mr. Faustino and Mr. Malley. And so it wasn't like hard, but it was definitely different. Like
Getting used to the change.
Does anybody have like a favorite room of campus or favorite building that since you do get to travel between buildings, is there a special part of school you all really like going to? Yeah, Ava, where's the place you like going?
I like going to the Gateway University.
Cool. And yeah, we're definitely see that. True. Yeah, Anya?
I like the gym.
So do I.
Yeah, we got Sid and Emmy before we move on to our next question.
I do like going to the gym because I get to like
Thanks. The stairs are not as steep in Sterling.
It is true.
That is true.
So this one may be a little bit different if you're coming from 5th grade versus if you're not, but how is making friends been in the middle school? Yeah, Ava. We'll go Ava, then Alex.
And then Jeff.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Nice and
I
loud.
found it easier to make friends here since a lot of my old friends are coming here. And since there are new people here, I can also make friends with them. So I
Yeah, then Alex and Jack.
Same with Ava. I already had friends from the lower school, and so it wasn't as hard. But I was definitely very excited to make new friends.
ain't that hard to make friends because I just start a conversation.
And on that point, something I've noticed, Hannah, are you and Emmy? You and Emmy aren't in any classes together, right?
Yeah, we're
Oh, just tutoring. But you're only in one class together. But do you see each other even when you're not in class? Yeah, so I know a big stressor that especially as kids move to more classes or everything, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not with this person, even though they're my best friend. People find ways to see each other lots. Yeah, and Sid?
Because it was like a little hard at first because like I was new and everybody had friends already, so like I made new friends, but like it was like a little hard at the beginning.
And also I'd like that you acknowledge that that there are sometimes struggles, but they are all overcomable. Yes?
And like, in some of my classes, I wasn't with friends that I already had, but that was an opportunity for me to make new friends, and I'm really glad that I did.
That's great. Yeah.
Well, there's been like a lot of new people that came here at middle school, and we have like one of the vendors that I'm in. We have people that are new. We have like maybe 4 or 3 new people. Yeah.
Yeah, Jack?
The common thing. That's how you guys make it.
Yeah, 100%.
Sorry, what did you say?
Jeff?
Like, on what Sid said, like, you gave us a week at the beginning just to like normalize ourselves with school.
That's great. And it's been really nice to hear as like the adult involved that to a bunch of you guys in the first week is really helpful. So that's definitely good feedback for us. We're always trying to keep what works and change things that can be better.
Can you ask about homework?
Yes. And actually, I've noticed, Drew, do you have anything on homework? I just noticed I haven't called you. Yeah.
It's starting off in the beginning of the year. It's like really like gradual getting into. So like now it's like getting to like how it's going to be for the rest of the year. But at the beginning of the year it was like mainly just finding your class, and it wasn't that much homework.
What do you do if you're at home doing homework and you feel really stuck or stressed out?
Email your teacher.
That is a biggie. So we'll go Sid, then Alex.
So we have like, so in 6th grade, you don't get as much homework as you would in 7th or 8th grade. So our history and science teachers, they take days about giving us some homework. So like every other day we get history homework, and every other day we get science homework. So that we don't have so much homework that we have to have on, and so we can do homework and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll go Emmy, then Ava.
At the lower school, it's 15 minutes of reading, but it's just an additional like 5 minutes, so it's not that much.
They don't miss a beat now, do they?
Count those minutes.
You
Yeah,
still have reading every night.
Yeah.
Is it reading, is it still a choice of how you read? Like, can you read aloud, read to yourself, listen to an audible? Is it still a choice?
Yeah, but it's just for 5 minutes.
And then Ava, and then I'm gonna have one more question for you all before I open it up to parent questions, and then we'll start our tour. But Ava, you had a comment on homework?
I have a comment on what.
Oh, okay.
For flex, we have skills flex, so we get to work on what things that we could improve on. For me, it's organization. So I get help organizing homework,
again, skills are super different based on the needs, like with Alex and Anya and the flex. I'm running. What are we doing in our flex?
We're doing, we have Reader's Theater, but we are actually creating a play. And it's really fun, because figuring out the plot chart of the play.
So I realize it's hard to pick a favorite thing. And again, before I open it up to parents, I just wanted you to say, what is one thing about 6th grade that you have really liked? It doesn't have to be like your favorite class, but it can just be a class you like or an activity. And we'll just start with Anya and work all the way down. So what is...
My favorite subject is science. My favorite subject is also science.
My favorite subject is math.
My favorite subject is history. My favorite subject is
AOG, it's advanced or in Gillingham.
My favorite subject is tutoring and AOG.
Yeah.
My favorite subject is art and science. My favorite thing is STEM.
That's great.
Do you like that it rotates?
Tutoring and
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
whatever's happening.
Thanks,
Cool.
Jeff.
Do parents have any questions for these wealths of information? We'll start.
So quick question for maybe some of the kids. I know there's somebody from Andover, somebody from Dorchester. So with the longer commutes, and in 6th grade it seems like your activity levels maybe picked up with sports or extended days. How do you find your energy level like during the day?
Go ahead, Ava.
I would say I wake up early in the morning so I can catch the bus.
What time do you get up in the morning?
Around 5.
Oof,
And then
I thought 6 was early.
the bus stop is about half an hour away from our house.
Gotcha.
So I'd say that the day is kind of annoying.
Makes for a long day, doesn't it?
But
She travels with snacks though, throughout the day, right, Ava?
Yeah, that's good.
And I would say something that I know because I'm Ava's advisor. Something we've worked on is like because sometimes it's hard to do homework at the end of that. So trying to find ways with Ava between time she has after school and in school to make sure that she's still able to get that done because it is a lot. And yeah, Hannah, I saw your hand, and then Jack.
Nice and loud, Hannah. Just a little tired?
Yeah, Jack.
I don't really like the morning to do because that's like the wrong thing. I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to work on that.
Yes, we have a lunch meeting next week. He has some suggestions for how to run the bus.
They're really
Yes.
good. Lovely.
We have an official bus meeting, a working lunch.
Yes. And I know I'm going to make sure we have time to get to the tour. So I will
Maybe take two
maybe
or
take
three more questions?
Yes.
I just had a question about tutoring. So is tutoring different this year? Because it sounded like, so Emmy and Hannah have tutoring together, or is it one-on-one, like in 5th grade? Good question.
Yeah, Emmy and Hannah, can you tell them about their tutoring, and then we will call on, I see Anya, Sid, and Trip.
Yeah, and it's me, her, and
Nice and loud so they can hear.
it's me and Hannah and another person. So, but I think it's more fun even though we learn a lot.
And yeah, let's see, I said Anya, Sid, and True were the order I saw those.
I have tutoring alone because I'm new this year. Yeah, because I'm alone, and I'm alone because I'm new, and it's like you have a little more time to connect with like learning how to do it and stuff. But sometimes when somebody else's tutor isn't there, they join your group, so I sometimes people join my group.
And it's also like really fun to like if you're like also tutoring with your friend, then like you get to like learn with your friend and also like talk.
Yeah, and Jack, and then I saw Jack's hand before, and I'm sorry, we'll have to cut off the questions because we want to make sure we have time for one more parent question, but.
I like what do you call it? working with someone because it gives like a little less work, but not.
You can share the spotlight, yeah.
Things are a little more,
Less stressful maybe?
just like a little more fair.
Love the honesty.
And like honestly, I would say as somebody who's tutored and who's administered tutoring in pairs, having a slightly larger group, especially as kids get older, can be really helpful because they can sometimes share their knowledge and collaborate more effectively than I can in a one-on-one situation, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm fortunate, I actually have Ava in my group of 4 for advanced OG, and I'd be happy to chat more when we're on the tour about that, or maybe Ava.
And do we have one final question? Yes.
What is lunch and recess look like in middle school?
Let's
Oh,
see.
dear.
Okay, can we go, the 2 people I think I did call in the last round was Alex, then Ava, and then we'll take other hands as well. But I just wanted to make sure I got you 2 in first because you didn't get to
Okay.
tutoring.
I think, so in 5th grade, we had lunch and snack in our homerooms, inside, and in the middle school, we would usually, in the spring we had lunch outside, but now that it's beginning to get colder, we're having lunch in here. And it's really nice because you get to sit with your friends, and I think it's, yeah, I like it.
And then Ava, then I think I saw Sid and Emmy wanted to share as well.
During lunch, we have the cafeteria like space, and then during recess, I feel like there's a lot more choices to make than in 5th grade. We only have and
Yeah, then Sid and Emmy.
So in the fall, we had lunch outside and then recess outside. And then now, because it's getting colder and it's snowing, we eat down here and then we have the option to go into the gym as well. Thursdays we get pizza.
Yeah, Emmy and Jack.
that's what I was gonna say. We get pizza on Thursdays. The 8th graders run it.
Yeah.
So
Do you know why the 8th
For
graders
the,
sell
isn't
pizza?
it for the New York trip?
Yes,
yeah, it was for a trip to New York.
it's a fundraiser. Very popular. We have a great deal with Bertucci's.
Yeah, and then I just see Jack and Drew wanted to add on the lunch and recess train.
I personally think it's a little bit
We've had a lot of feedback about extending
We can actually talk about it.
recess.
It will be longer next year.
Longer recess.
Yeah, longer recess.
Notice the self-advocacy skills by the springtime.
And then Drew, and then I think we're gonna have one final question from these folks.
We only have lunch recess, and for our snack, we go to our next class and we eat for like 15 minutes, like in the beginning of our next class.
So like today, so our 3rd block is when we eat snack. So I have science 3rd block, so I'll be eating snack in science.
Your science.
And then, just finally, guys, and you can pass because I realize this may be a slightly difficult question without a lot of previewing, but could you think of a piece of advice you would give either a parent or a 5th grade, or a parent of a 5th grade student or a 5th grade student? And if you don't have anything, you can ask, but we can just start with Jack and we'll head down and do it.
Well, when they gave us like that tour, like when I was in 5th grade, I didn't like it. I thought it was a little it was like all the teachers you never met, and they were just introducing themselves, and then you had to like walk around the school with them.
So what advice would you give?
Just like, don't be nervous.
Don't be nervous, okay?
It's not the same.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
I would say to be prepared to memorize your schedule to make it easier, and be prepared to, you should get like a backpack to carry all the stuff around and use like it. I was gonna say like the trip, like if you're in a different building, it might seem long, but you get used to it along the way.
It might be scary at first, but like it gets easier along the way as you go on.
They don't provide us with binders. Well, they do provide us with binders, but fifth grade, you guys might know that your fifth graders get big red ones, and they do not provide us with those big binders, so we do have to carry around our backpacks. So I would say fifth graders, you are allowed to like bring your binders like back to sixth grade. A lot of people do.
Oh, interesting.
So
Yeah, this is a big step for us.
And then Anya, do you have advice?
no.
Well, no, thank you so much. That was actually.
Thank you.